This is Ron Carter. The weather has finally broken in Butler County, Pennsylvania, and we're all set to enjoy the oncoming days of summer. We're going to start with a delightful iced coffee from the all-new Strand Box Office and Cafe. But Butler County has all kinds of arts and culture treasures for you to enjoy as the summer months approach. And we're going to visit a couple of those places today that qualify in the fine arts category. So let's get started on Showreel. As you make your way through the rural roads and the farmlands of the outskirts of the city of Butler, you'll run across Schramm's Farm Market, and right across the street is a driveway that'll lead you to a beautiful berry farm. It also happens to be the studio of Christy Culp. Welcome to Two Pairs Pottery. I am with Christy Culp. She's the owner of Two Pairs Pottery here in Butler. And Christy, thanks so much for joining us for Showreel.
Thanks for coming over.
This is such a gorgeous place. This is your house, right?
Yes.
And it's such a beautiful piece of land. Just wanted to ask you, what drove you, what inspired you to get involved in clay?
Well, my mother always told me I was an artist, so I will always be what she told me to be.
You always have to do what your mother tells you.
That's right, that's right. I always wanted to be an art teacher. When I went to IUP, you have to take all the studios, and I'd never really had any clay experience in high school. So when I took that first clay class, that was really a phenomenal experience, and continued taking clay classes every year until I graduated.
So that was it. That's what your first time you got onto a potter's wheel. That's what convinced you.
Well, it's a struggle, and I like a challenge. We make it look so easy, and it's not. It takes so much practice.
Well, tell me about that. What is involved in just creating a basic piece of pottery?
Oh, well, you have to go buy the clay,
Okay.
and it's nice now that we can buy clay and not dig it out of our yard and process it.
Although with this land, you probably could do that.
I think I probably could. There's a lot of prep. I have to wedge the clay to get it ready so that it's soft, kind of like warming up before you go to the gym.
Okay.
So I have to do that, and then on my pottery wheel, it's centering, it's knowing what is it I want to make. I can't just, well, I can go in and spontaneously just make, but it's always good to have a plan.
Okay.
Decide what I'm going to make, spend that time making that shape. Then you have to wait for it to dry to a certain point and trim it so that it has a nice pretty bottom on it. Then you have to wait for it to dry, and our kilns that you hear clicking back here, you have to fire them and then decide again, what am I going to do next with this? And that's the decorating process, which I love. So once they get to see my pieces, they'll see that I don't leave any surface untouched.
Wow, that's very exciting. So from that time, and I'm just admiring some of these gorgeous pieces that you have here. It's what kind of inspiration do you draw from? Like, how do you decide what you're going to create?
I'm influenced a lot by what's around me, and I like aprons and old kitchen towels, things that are reminiscent of my grandmother's and my mother. We have a blackberry farm, so I spend most of my summers picking blackberries. This winter, I became very nostalgic for the blackberries, and I started a new blackberry pattern.
Oh, wow.
Because I did miss being in the rows picking berries.
Yeah.
So that's what's new.
Oh, that's exciting. So you're here. This is your studio. This is like you described to me before. This is a working studio. So you don't do a ton of tours, but you do accept some people here, some visitors and things like that.
Yes, once a year I have an open studio sale. I have a wonderful group of loyal clients, and they like to come out and see what I've got. And they think I have things hidden away for them. So I get everything out, and they get to shop, and we set up the yard like a garden party. So we have tables everywhere, and I invite one special guest in from out of town. She comes in. Her name's Karen McKee. She's a dear friend, and she brings her pieces as well. So she gets a chance to meet my clients.
Okay.
Which is nice, because I think that everybody should have a chance to meet as many artists as they can.
Well, take me back through the process of creating a piece of pottery. I mean, you had mentioned about some of the prep work and things like that, but how long does it take you to get from from the very beginning when you start creating to you have a finished product ready for sale?
I can do what I call a batch of work in about 2 weeks. because there's so much lag time in between waiting for things to dry.
Okay, so you're making multiple pieces at the same time.
Right. A kiln is very large. Like we measure it in cubic space, so there are shelves that we have to fill up. So I have to think in terms of how many pieces is it worth to run that, because it will run for 12 hours. And my electric bill, my meter spins.
Of course.
What's going on?
Well, I was noticing that there's two different size kilns here. So is there some kind of criteria for, like right now the little one's been used, right?
Yes.
Now, how do you fill that big one?
It takes 2 weeks, minimum 2 weeks to fill it.
2 weeks of work before you can fill that up.
Sometimes it's 2.5 weeks, and usually I think that I have it filled, and then as I'm stacking the shelves up, it's like, oh, I need a few more pieces for that.
Before you're ready to turn it on.
Yeah, when I first got that kiln, it's bigger than the kiln that I had before, and I just didn't realize how big it is. Because I made my normal load of work and loaded it, and like, okay, well, 2 more weeks, I'll fill this thing up.
And then they're not done until they're baked.
Right, and it's 12 hours, and then it takes another 8 to 12 to cool it.
Really?
So it's
that long?
It's Christmas morning, like you wait and wait and wait, and there's a temperature gauge on it, so I come out and I look.
Okay, so a little bit longer,
a little bit longer, yeah.
Wow, it's really just, it's so beautiful, some of this work that you've done. And you have your working studio, but do you have your work out on display anyplace else?
Yes. I sell my work at Batch in Saxonburg. They are very supportive of the local community. So the artisans that they sell, they make soup and breads, but they also sell a lot of pieces made by local crafters and artisans. And I also sell at Mystique Moon on Main Street in Butler. They also have another potter in there. I always like to make sure that this is where you get the pottery.
So when we visit some of these local studios out in the area, and they always talk about how they are a resource for local artists. You're one of those local artists.
I am one of those
that is
local
out there
artists.
and working within the community.
Yes. I believe that it's very important for artisans to be connected to community, to be connected to our neighbors, which is another reason why I have the studio sale. We don't have another working pottery studio in Butler, so people in general aren't familiar with who's an artist, who's a potter. So this is my chance to let people come in and visit. You know, there are times I'll pull out the pottery wheel and let the, if kids are here, I can throw for them or let them get their hands dirty, depending on if mom lets them.
Sure, of course, understand.
Yeah, I think that it's nice to be connected to the community. Butler's a great place.
It is a great place, and part of the joy of this show is discovering how many wonderful arts and cultural treasures are even out there. What are you doing when you're not here creating pottery or picking berries? What else? What do you do to occupy your time?
Well, I teach high school art at Deer Lakes High School. So in the past, I've never taught outside of the high school. I've always had to say to people, well, unless you're between the ages of 15 and 19 and a student at Deer Lakes High School, you can't take a class with me. But now I teach classes at the Butler Art Center. Okay.
We just did a segment on the Butler Art Center just a couple of months ago.
Yeah, with Alex.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space.
It's a great space. I suggest everybody go.
So that's one of the places that you will actually go and teach.
Yes.
Beyond what's going on with Deer Lakes and whatever happens here at the studio.
Yeah, I teach 2 beginning wheel classes right now. We're going to be doing some other events in the fall, and I've gotten 3 other instructors to come in, because to have a full-time studio, I'm not accessible that much, so we have other instructors coming in, and we're looking to really grow a clay community there.
Wonderful. So if I want to find out more information about your artwork specifically, do you have a website or a way to reach people?
You can find me on Instagram at Christy L. Culp, and you can find me on Facebook at Christy Culp or Two Pairs Pottery, and I post the events there. That's okay. So if that's where you're going to find all the things that are happening here at the studio, and any other activities that you're going to be doing on your own. Wonderful. Yeah, Facebook and Instagram are fast, so it's very easy for me to, 30 seconds, I can get all the information out there. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's a fantastic studio. Certainly encourage you to come out and visit during the open houses that she has here over at the Butler Art Center, or any of the studios where you can find Christy Culp's work. Thanks so much. Oh, thank you. Pottery is a full contact sport. It is not for the weak. I was going to say, that's a heck of a workout there. It is, and this isn't necessarily a large piece of clay. Now, people think traditionally about mugs and pots and things you pour from, but I was noticing some of these like serving plates you have as well, and that's not that. I'm sure it's a completely different process. It is. This is a giant slab roller. So
Okay.
it's like a mechanical rolling pin.
Oh.
And it will flatten clay out into beautiful large sheets.
Oh, so will you not spin any of this kind of stuff?
Those pieces were made with slab molds, which are these.
Okay.
So I roll out a slab of clay and put it over top of it and let it firm up and then flip it over and pop that out.
Ah, okay. I was trying to imagine how you make a flat plate on a potter's wheel.
Well, you can make a plate, but you can't make oval plates. Well, I know there are potters that do that. Yeah. Everything that I make is functional because for me, I would say the biggest reward out of making things is people using them. And people will send me pictures. Here's my coffee in the morning, kind of.
Nice.
Which
yeah.
is really enjoyable. I will make one of those bowls on the second shelf there.
One with the berries on them?
Similar to that size, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of potters work in white clay or stoneware, and I work in red clay because I love the color of it. It's very similar to terracotta flower pots.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very earthy and very natural looking.
Yeah, it's warm.
Now, do you do that? Do you just work exclusively, or do you sometimes switch things up and we'll go into a different color of clay?
If I go into a different color of clay, I have to clean the whole studio.
Aha! Okay.
And this is the cleanest you'll see this studio for a year. So what I'm doing right now is called centering, because the clay has to rotate equally on the wheel. If it's not, one side will be bigger than the other.
I'm gonna say you kind of eyeballed it to get it onto the wheel. Because
Yeah.
so once you start molding it like that, you manage to get it onto the center. You work it toward the center that way.
Right, what I'm doing is applying force from the side and from the top.
Okay. That's it. So you've got the 1 foot on the pedal to work the wheel. Now, do you just like having the other foot on a can like that?
It keeps my hips level.
Okay.
Yeah, that whole full contact sport thing.
You got to be centered.
I have to be centered, yes. And it's very physical on my back and my shoulders. I have a kind of a standing appointment at my chiropractor. But I also go to the gym to, keep my back strong.
Sure.
What I'm doing now is called pulling up the wall. And I'm applying pressure on the inside and on the outside to get the clay to move up, centrifugal force. Our physics teacher at Deer Lakes, he can throw on the pottery wheel, so every once in a while I'll say, get down here and throw for the kids.
Oh, so we can explain
Yeah.
the physics of it. Okay, so what's happening here?
I am indenting the side to add a little bit of interest to it.
Okay.
Makes it prettier, but it also gives me specific places to decorate.
Oh, okay.
Because in the end, I'm always thinking, where am I going to put the cherries? Where am I going to put the blueberries or the blackberries? If you look at the blackberry bowls, you'll see their little sections. So it tells me where I'm going to put things.
Right. And through the magic of television, this is kind of what
Yeah, actually,
you might see.
that one.
Well, this one doesn't. This one's
I
not
know, it doesn't have
finished.
any decorations on it.
So this, but bigger. Okay.
Yeah. And clay shrinks, so that bowl that I
Oh.
just made will be this size.
Wow.
Because the water evaporates out of it and all the clay particles shrink together.
That is, even without the decor on it, it's really gorgeous.
Thank you.
Well, Chrissy, this has just been a delightful interview. Thanks so much for sharing your time with us. But I understand you also have a show coming up.
Yeah, June 23rd and 24th, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 4 p.m. We are open to the public. Anybody can come. Bring your friends, bring your family, come see lots of great pottery.
And you can get the address from that Instagram and Facebook account that you were talking about earlier?
Yes, everything will be posted on both of them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This is just wonderful.
Thanks so much.
I think we're just going to head on out and don't pay any attention to anything that's going on otherwise.
I don't see what you're doing.
it's a pleasure to be asked back once again to talk to members of the Cranberry Artists Network, and something that they've been teasing for a number of their segments over the course of months, and it's coming up very quickly in a few short weeks. In fact, this is a partnership between the Cranberry Artists Network, the Cranberry Township Community Days, and the Cranberry Township Community Chest. So let's find out about Martinis with Monet. I am with Noelle Reynolds, the president of the Cranberry Artists Network here in Cranberry Township. And Noelle, thank you for having us back again
Nice
for Showreel.
to be back again.
It's great to have you, and our viewers have seen a few segments on the Cranberry Artists Network since we started Showreel, so they should have some background about what the group is all about. But what we'll do is let's talk about the website real quick so people can go reference that if they need to.
Sure. If you're interested in our group, we can be reached at www.cranberryartistsnetwork.com. You'll find tons of things on our website, such as pictures, our plein air group, how to become a member, our upcoming shows, our upcoming prospectus. There's a lot you can do on our website.
And the website's pretty much set up for both public use as well as the artists network themselves, right?
Yes, whether you're a member or not, our website is accessible.
Great, so whether you're an artist or whether you just want to find out more about the group, you can go to cranberryartistsnetwork.com and you're good to go.
Correct.
Wonderful. Well, we've been teasing every segment that Cranberry Artists Network has been on about the Martinis with Monet event, and that is finally coming up very quickly.
It is. It's going to be on July 11th from 7 to 9 right here at the Township Building. It is our signature event. We pair with the Township and the Cranberry Township Community Chest. It's quickly becoming one of the biggest shows in Western Pennsylvania. It is an open show, so you don't have to be a member of our group. We invite anyone, any artist within a 150-mile radius to join us.
So if an artist has an interest in having their work seen at this huge high-profile event, they don't even need to be a member.
Not for this one.
They just need to submit their information to your group.
Right. On our website, we have the prospectus, which will give you all of the details. And then we also have a registration page where you would input your information and the photos of your work. We have an amazing juror this year. Her name is Christine Swan. And she is an international pastel artist. She's known globally.
Wow,
and
fantastic.
she's local, and she's agreed to be our juror. So we're going to have to buck up a little.
Assuming I know nothing about what it means to be an artist or be part of an artist network, what does a juror do?
Well, the juror's looking at your craft, obviously. They're looking at your command of the medium. Have you tackled that subject matter and how you are presenting it? So she's looking, I'm sure she has a criteria that she...
Is she the one who decides whether or not your work is going to be part of the show, or is
Yes.
that you have to go through like a preliminary process?
No, she actually is the juror that decides which pieces get in and accepted and hung, and which ones wouldn't be. And then she also decides our prizes.
Okay, it sounds like she's got a big job.
She does.
All right, fantastic. So if the show you mentioned is on July 11th,
July
from
11th.
7 to 9 p.m., but what can people expect to see when they arrive here?
Oh, well, we actually closed the Township Building for the evening.
Wow.
So we closed the whole building down because last year we were in excess of 400 to 500 people that attended.
Wow.
Right,
that's
we had
amazing.
about 70 artists and about 120 pieces. So it's
My
a really
goodness.
large show.
So every part of the municipal center is filled with
used.
artwork.
Yes. We have live music. We have a fabulous duo playing who also happen to be members of the Cranberry Artists Network.
Well, that's convenient.
James and Deborah Tobin,
All right.
So they'll be our musical entourage. We also have John Marshall Catering. He's a local caterer that did fantastic food last year.
We are very familiar with John Marshall Catering because they do our annual Taste of the New North event every year. So we're very happy to know that John Marshall is part of this program.
So he's our two-peat. He's our repeat. We love his food, so we've invited him back again.
Wonderful.
And we will have, at about halfway through the event, then we also have our prizes. So we announce our award winners, first, second, and third place, based on our jurors' selections. It's all done privately, so nobody knows. So everybody's in anticipation.
So it's all a mystery.
It's a mystery until 8 p.m.
All right.
when they tease it out.
Okay, so from 7 to 8, it's pretty much open to the public, and then they'll announce.
And there's martinis, don't forget.
And, well, it is martinis with Monet. I was going to ask about that. They are serving martinis here.
Yes.
So you can enjoy a martini while appreciating all this wonderful artwork.
And the music and the food.
And it goes, now, you said it goes from 7 to 9. 8 o'clock is when they'll announce.
When we announce our awards.
The awards.
Yes.
But then, of
Artists
course,
are always excited for that part.
Of course they are. And then why wouldn't they be?
Right, and CTCC also provides our prize money. So we have large prize amounts that we give out. So
And
it's an incentive.
CTCC, now who would they be?
That's the Cranberry Township Community Chest.
Wonderful. So they're working in partnership with you for this
Correct.
event.
Yes, and it is a ticketed event.
Okay.
So it's ticket-only event.
So you don't get in
Right.
unless you've got a ticket.
Unless you've got a ticket.
You got a ticket to get
right.
in.
And tickets will be available June 1st, and they are on the website, and you can also pick them up at the Customer Service Center, but it's ticketed only. Now, you
Okay.
can always come and see the event after July 11th, the artwork, but if you really want to come and experience the food and the art and the Monet that will be
Yes.
here to paint with us, you really want to come on July 11th.
I mean, you really, to be a part of something so extravagant as what this must be in Cranberry Township, you don't want to, I mean, of course you want to come and see the artwork after the
Sure.
fact if you're able to, but mainly you want to be a part of something so extravagant as this Martinis with Monet.
Yes, well, and the artists are here. You know, the artists
Okay,
are here.
great, okay.
It's an artist reception. It's the opening reception. So the artists are here and can speak about their artwork. It's all for sale. We've done really well with selling artwork, and it's always nice to get a first night preview of what's here because it does go fast.
I was going to say, because if that's the case, then these artists are able to sell their works right here on the spot,
here.
which means you might miss something that might otherwise be here because it's sold.
Correct. That little red dot can be very disappointing if it's a piece that you wanted.
Fantastic. That's very
our sold
exciting.
mark.
So it's really exciting that we're going to have this Cranberry Artists Network Martinis with Monet on July 11th.
Art Expo.
From 7 to 9 p.m. And if I want to get tickets, where do I get my tickets?
You can get them online at the CTC website, and you can also get them at the Customer Service Center right here in the township.
Right here in the township.
And those ticket sales end July 9th. So
oh, so there is a deadline to get your tickets.
there is a deadline to get tickets. So you definitely want to get your tickets early so that you are sure that you can come that night because it is a lot of fun.
It sounds like it's going to be a great night. It sounds very exciting. And I know we have another guest that we're going to talk to a little bit about the Martinis with Monet history and how it ties in with Cranberry Community Days. So Noelle, thank you so much for joining
Thanks for having me yet again.
This is Bruce Mazzoni. He is the president of the Cranberry Township Community Days and serves on the board of the Cranberry Township Community Chest. So Bruce, thanks so much for joining us for Showreel.
Ron, it's my pleasure.
What we were told by Noelle is that the Martinis with Monet is something that the Cranberry Artist Network has been involved with for the last 4 years, but that's not how it began. And I understand you would be the expert on how all this came to pass.
Well, it came really from an event that I attended when I was on the shores of Delaware. I was invited by friends to attend a art exhibit, and it was themed Martinis with Monet. Done differently than the way we did it, but I loved the concept of it. Community Days was just developing then. When we first started, it was just a one-day event. We went to a two-day event, and we really wanted to do something to grow our art community. For a long time, Cranberry had an art group, but for 8 years, we were without an artist group.
Okay.
So I thought the idea of the Martinis with Monet would be something to help centralize the art need. We reached out to the Associated Artists of Butler County. They loved the idea and they joined us for the
And how far
first one.
back did this go when this started?
This is 11 years ago
Okay,
that,
great.
that we've done Martinis with Monet.
Great. And so you started with the Associated Artists of Butler County, and then what happened from there?
Well, we've had them here for a few years. We had some interest in some people starting the Cranberry version of that, and Noelle was one of the leading members of that. And the decision was made, instead of just doing an off branch of the Associated Artists of Butler County, was to create the Cranberry Artists Network, independent entity, even though many of them are also members of the Associated Artists of Butler County.
Sure.
They agreed also, and that really launched our art community. We finally got a very solid art community here. They have 100+ members, very successful, and with that, Martinis with Monets have really also grown too.
It really sounds like this is one of those perfect examples of communities coming together from various areas, because the Cranberry Artist Network helped put together the Martinis with Monet, but it was started back 11 years ago by the Cranberry Township area and by yourself.
With the need of trying to create an artist group because we didn't have one. So it was a win-win scenario all the way across.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, what the Martinis with Monet event is a kickoff for a much bigger event, correct?
Correct.
And that is?
As I mentioned, that's Community Days, CTCC Community Days. This is our 43rd year
Wow.
of doing Community Day.
Nice.
Yes. It, again, originally started July 4th. It was a one-day event done by Cranberry Township, as a
Okay.
lot of community days are done
Sure.
by communities. But as Cranberry grew, the decision was made to move it from July 4th because it was so many people and it was done 95% by the employees of Cranberry Township. And of course, they wanted to be home with their families July 4th.
Right.
They didn't want to be hosting the community days
Sure.
on a holiday.
All right, so that got moved to a different weekend, right?
The township made the decision to move it the second Saturday of July. At that time, CTCC was looking for something to claim as their own.
Okay,
We went
so
to
now CTCC, that stands for what?
Cranberry Township Community Chess.
Wonderful.
Which
Okay, got that.
coincidentally is also 43 years old too. It was started in
interesting.
1976 by the Rotary.
Okay.
And it was started at that time, to collect money for the fire company, the ambulance, and the library. And as Cranberry grew, we had dedicated funding for the fire company. The ambulance went in a different direction, and the same with the library. We have a library dedicated tax to help keep our library sustained. And Cranberry Community Chest was actually going to disband. And at that time, Cranberry Township was doing a 40-year comprehensive plan.
Okay.
And one of the weaknesses of Cranberry Township was, even though the Cranberry was growing in population, its nonprofit and civic groups membership were declining. Now, that's not a Cranberry Township thing. That's a state thing
Sure.
and a national thing. So Cranberry Township went and looked to see what can be done to try to turn that around. And we,
Okay, so Cranberry Township Community Days essentially was created to celebrate nonprofits. Is that right?
3 specifically,
Okay.
to raise money for it. So then what we decided to do was to create CTCC, and we wanted a signature program, so we took over Community Days. We offered to do it. The township was more than happy to hand it off also.
So we have the Martinis with Monet in partnership with the Cranberry Artists Network. We have the Cranberry Community Days themselves, and then we have the Cranberry Township Community Chest, which is also partnering, and I understand that they do an annual project.
Correct. We do a project of the year. We currently are working on our 8th project of the year, but we introduce a new project of the year at Community Day. So we'll introduce our 9th project of the year at this Community Days.
And now I understand that Showreel is about to get the exclusive on what that project might be
You're
for the
right.
9th year.
You're right. We have not mentioned it, and you are going to. It's going to be our Cranberry Library.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we made the decision to have that as our 9th project.
And what are you going to be doing for the library?
Well, we're calling it, we don't have the official term, but basically the Library Innovation 2.0. The library wants to create a maker space and do a variety of innovation within the shell of the library itself.
Okay.
Everyone loves the library. You know, a lot of our projects, they're more geared to specific things. Our current one is the disc golf course. You know, that doesn't have the biggest appeal to older people as a
Right.
whole, but the library has the appeal.
Everybody loves the library.
Yeah, from age 2 to age 92.
Great.
Everyone loves the library.
So if I want to find out more about Cranberry Community Days, what's the website for that?
www.ctccchest.org.
What he said there, and it's also up on the graphic through the magic of television. And if I wanted to find out about the Cranberry Township Community Chest, where would I go for that?
That's the same one. It's all combined together, along with the new project of the year, too. So it's tabbed so that you can go from the main page of CTCC to Community Days to the project of the year.
Wonderful. So it's a fine example of all these great communities coming together, all these great community projects coming together. So it starts out with Martinis with Monet, which is July 11th, Cranberry Township Community Days, which runs from the 12th through the 14th, plus the brand new Cranberry Township Community Chest Project, which is to fund a maker's area in the library. Thanks so much, Bruce, for joining us for
My
Showreel.
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So whether you'd like to visit Two Paris Pottery in Butler or be a part of Martinis with Monet as part of the Cranberry Artists Network and the Cranberry Township Community Days, the summer is already heating up in Butler County, Pennsylvania. And we'll see you next time on Showreel. you would like to find out more about arts and culture in Butler County, PA, be sure to visit the online calendar on the website of the Butler County Tourism and Convention Bureau.